Right, first of all, getting ready now for an 8 o'clock kick-off on a Monday night, so it's a completely different build-up towards it all. Is there a lot of disruption or not?
Not particularly. It's a world we've got to get used to, with games being changed all the time. Obviously, we've had plenty of time for this, so it gives you a way of putting a plan into place, which means you can alter things, which then in the lead up coming to Monday, your week looks like it would do for a Saturday, if that makes sense. It's the ones where they drop in the week before, where they've got to quickly move a game which can disrupt things. But it's been a longer week, which meant we've been able to look after a couple of players who've been carrying knocks, probably like all clubs. But it's not too disruptive, if I'm honest.
And when the TV cameras are there and your team's in the spotlight, do you sense that the players get a feeling about that as well?
I would think so. I think when you're a player, you're always you know when they're there and things look different. So they will be conscious, like every team, I'd imagine. It's fairly new to us still, being on tally more often than we have been in recent years. So I'm sure the players will be excited knowing that there'll be a bigger audience watching them.
The 10-game mark has come and gone now, and you're going into your next spell of fixtures. You sit 8th in the table, 5 wins in that particular period. What's your overall assessment of how it's gone in that opening 10?
Yeah, there's been a mixture in that 10, hasn't there? But we're relatively pleased with where we are, knowing that we could have probably picked up 3 more points throughout that run. I think we're fielding something like 7 players of 21 and under, so we're going to get that little bit of inconsistency. I've spoke about that a lot in the league, and that's about us now finding that balance of making sure we can be that consistent team more often than not. But relatively pleased. Lots of football to be played still. You compare it to some other teams which they might do, and we're doing better than them in terms of points total, and there's teams that are above us who might be more surprised. So it's still early yet, but in terms of what we're doing and what we've tried to look for in games, I think we've seen that more often than not. There's been 2 or 3 below par performances, but we're relatively pleased with where we stand.
You did a big overhaul of the squad in the summer. I think it was 10 signings finally arrived, of course. Do you see now that the patterns of play out on the training ground, out on the pitch, and the combinations and partnerships are coming together more now?
Yeah, I think the players have taken that on really well. I think we were able to do quite a bit of work with that in pre-season in terms of what we wanted to look like. You can see, like you say, them relationships out wide through the middle of the pitch in terms of what we're asking for. And we're always trying to tweak things and come up with different things against the opposition, depending on how they set up. But there's definitely relationships forming. I think when you watch, you can see the movements that we're after from various positions, but really pleased with the players that we've been able to bring in. They've added some quality to the squad, all slightly younger, which means we've got that energy and that athleticism within the team, and we've got some headaches coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to lead into that because your 2 players who've been suspended in the last week or so are back in contention, of course, for Monday night. Those selection options are looking very, very strong at the moment. Touch wood, not too many out injured.
Yeah, we like I said, we've only got a couple out injured really. Lunty and Reece come back in. I thought Charlie was excellent on Saturday. Comfortably his best game for the football club. I thought he was excellent, and Reece has just got Player of the Month, I believe. So, it's a real dilemma in terms of which one to pick, and we've got full belief in both of them. Lunty has been really good for us. Looked like he's kicked on, and we all know what he can add in terms of the dimension, in terms of his athleticism on the pitch, and he's shown that quality. But it's a really good position to be in, Graham, and like touch wood, let's hope we can continue this. The medical team are doing great. The schedule we're coming up with looks like that could be helping, but you're a week away from that changing. So we welcome the headaches in terms of people are going to have to be left out on Monday. So we welcome them headaches.
And for Charlie Finney, it's been a real frustrating time for him. There's been a lot of faith from the football club put into him, and I'm sure he wants to repay you back. But when he has a performance like that last weekend, that's pleasing for everybody.
Absolutely, and I make no bones about it. I'm one of his biggest fans, and I push for him to stay at the football club. That's younger players being here, because I know what he's capable of. He's had a torrid time with injury. The operation he had to have isn't a straightforward operation where you're fixed. It's then the build-up of it. Your body has to get used to how he can move. Basically, he couldn't run in the manner he did once. Now he's looking something more like that, and I'm glad we've been patient with him. Look, he's not cracked it by any means. It's up to him, like I say, about the consistency and maintaining his levels. But there's a really good player in there, and we've got to try and get that out of him.
So the good thing for him as well is he's been pushed by Reece Hutchinson, who's come into the club as well. So they're both vying for those positions, and that's all good for everything, for you and your coaching staff as well. Just looking at one player who's come back, who's more experienced than Charles Finney, is Omar Bogle, who also had a horrible time throughout the summer, but he got some minutes under his belt in the midweek game. Yeah,
he's had a tough summer, and it looks like he's come out the other end of that, which we're really pleased about. He played 45 minutes against Wigan, come through that really well. His attitude, it looks like a new Omar. His attitude's been great, really smiling and bubbly to be around the place. And again, we've got to manage him and get him more minutes, and then we'll have a discussion what things look like for him moving forward.
Well, the effort was there for everybody to see last week. You got yourselves over the white line with the 3 points as well. But the old saying goes, it's on to the next game now, and that's the one you've got to build from last week into Monday night. Yeah,
like I say, it comes down to hitting them consistency levels. I thought it was a really good performance. I thought we played some really good stuff, contrary to what somebody said after the game. I believe we played some really good stuff. We're not just going to roll over and let a team stroke the ball around a football pitch. I thought we were really well organised. We were aggressive. When we got the ball, we created some really good opportunities. You go through it with the players, and there's so many good opportunities that we got into, which we've got to do better at taking and making them more of a convincing chance. But it's all about, I keep saying it, can we hit them levels of consistency? The amount of young players we've got in the team might not look like that Monday. Might be a few changes going into that game. But we're excited to keep on moving forward and keep trying to improve all the time.
Well, let's look at your next opponents, Harrogate, who you go in there, of course, for the Monday night TV game. They've enjoyed a real good week. You know, they went and won at Gillingham, the first team to beat them in a long, long time, and especially at the Priestfield Stadium. And they backed that up by beating a fairly decent Huddersfield side in the Football League Trophy. What are you expecting?
Yeah, I thought the Huddersfield team was a really good Huddersfield team. They had 4 or 5 of the players. Harrogate that started against Gillingham. So I thought it was a really good game. The high energy, they've changed things up in terms of what they do, more aggressive with how they pressure, and then Simon does a good job every year, goes about it really quietly. They always recruit well. They don't just recruit from the Football League, they recruit from below that, and they have really good success with that. And it's going to be a tough game, but what we've got to do is we've got to take the game to them. We've got to implement what we want to do, and we've got to make sure we're structured, organised, and we set up the things that we want to do, and hopefully we get the outcome we need.